Welcome to the Practising Maker. The tyranny of well-being or happiness, namely that only good things or smiling moments, according to the value judgment of a group of people, by some cultural criteria, have to be shared with others in social networks or intimate chatting in friendly gatherings, instead of dueling suffering, encourages it by not accepting some disappointing mental state experienced by some cognitive agent in a defined space-time in both range, metaphysical and physical. Therefore, the subsequent states of mental and material objects avert us from claiming that we are in control of interacting objects. Furthermore, disallowing us to show ourselves as perfectible psychophysical beings which have a degree of imperfection in human condition, is never a solution to gaining confidence and advancing in the spiritual path, which is responsible for a better disposition to live harmoniously and honestly. Taking on the whole existence, conscious and unconscious, spiritual and practical, rational and emotional, etc., as a primordial foundation for the rest of our daily activities, accompanies a sense of social duty, delimiting the penumbra over the terrain of disheartening expectation and disastrous decisions which partially are the bedrock of our anguish. Such an appreciative contact up to when a cognitive agent perceives it between the long-deferred issues on mental states and the political consequences of our actions trace a juncture to reconcile with the superlative avoidance to compromising the fact that we merely devote putative importance to our existence. Though may or may not accept it, we are discretionally administering what we deem our identity. Meanwhile, we respond to the illiteracy of our psychic states in an inelegant manner by hiding the attitudes of openness and introspection, perhaps somewhat meager, which somehow misrepresents us and subjugates the transformative will of errant combustion. Exigently throttled crowd passing to and fro forward, seeking the glittering jewelry and the gaudy derangement covering over, when we need to explore the innate capacity for resilience and comprehension of our mind-body system. Conversely, such pitfalls fall over to make the impertinent questions from the standpoint of heedless colonizer, sowing doubts about her, his, compassion or generosity, arising similar outcomes to disavowing any opportunity for freedom, even the daydream of it. In this context, it sounds more sincere to be part of laziness power, but unfortunately not everyone has the same moral values and inner predisposition to tackle dissatisfaction. Nevertheless, everyone seeks peace of mind and happiness regarding their conception of that. Chaos has been excluded from our biological condition through evolution. Anatomy and physiology are witnesses of that. Likewise, our minds need serenity, even for those out of control by aggressive emotional states, likely impermanent. To understand this, psychiatry and psychology have taught us how and why mental illnesses occur and what needs more research. The tenure of reality, a disquisition about what is real, will avoid in this splendid occasion, is built on a first attempt to abolish disrespectful distraction, maybe by a late repudiation to ourselves, which does not recommend if we treasure our forlorn ontic condition, unless, of course, we want to be the replication of the myth of Sisyphus. Although the unthinkable acquisition of negative emotion on purpose, a deceptive accrual of Stoic practices in some cultures, could have unbound earnest liturgical questionary about what educational archetypes and political symbols in a given social group. The lethargic concept of abandonment, percolated mainly by French existentialist philosophers, has disencumbered us of the paramount and remarkable evocation and invocation to God, storming us with the faltering responsibility to prove out ourselves using processes where, at the last stage, God appears as a possibility, verbi gratia, quantum Planck scale for length and time, or in the axiomatic basis of the Chomsky's generative grammar. Diametrically opposite, without eking out effort and intellectual drudgery, but simultaneously invigorating the outgoing and full-fledged story, psychoanalytic explanation and modal logic, for instance Kripke semantics, herald the knife edge against the indefensible precariousness of claiming for nowadays the prosaic aim of medieval Geistlichkeitsweise, where leisurely day-to-day awakening is associated with the sin. In return, such posture its hasty postmodern times could help to disentangle harmless and residual remnants of restless and boundless interactions in social networks, when mostly useful users alienate without replenishing what we have stood for as peace of mind. In 2021, a scientific article by Powen and Haynes, entitled Measuring the Mental, appeared in the Journal of Consciousness and Cognition, which accounts for this subjective proceeding. They wrote, quote-unquote, "Mental experiences appear to be essentially subjective. I experience my pain in a way that no one else does. Apparently, I have an experiential privilege regarding my own mental states. Many philosophers and scientists conclude that the essential subjectivity of mental deeply affects our epistemic access to it. In their view, I am in much better position than anybody else to acquire knowledge regarding my own experience. Conversely, objective scientific methods seem to suffer from a fundamental epistemic deficit regarding the mental, particularly because they lack direct access to their objects. The problem found one of its most succinct analyses some decades ago in Thomas Nagel's work. According to Nagel, we find ourselves confronted with a dilemma regarding the mental. If we want to meet objective scientific standards, then we will never be able to capture the subjective character of mental experience. Conversely, if we want to do justice to the subjectivity of the mental, then objective scientific standards seem out of reach. Nagel thinks that scientific access to conscious mental states is possible, but misses out on what is essential for consciousness: subjective experience. Conclusively, in the acreage of mental formation for a merriment lifestyle, we unveil that well-being is not a dialectal paradigm or a scrupulous performance of cognitive agents, but instead, partially, a ragtag clump of antipodal points joining up to the brain consciousness system. It is no paltry and incidental to extend a digression on such a strand. However, in obedience to the intrinsic principle of packing conciseness, we let things here. Thank you very much for joining us. We were with you. Script and voiceover, Juan, Eduardo, Reluz, Machicote. Sound and image, Jesica, Francesca, García. Direction, Griselida, Reluz, Chafloque. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and found some valuable insights. Remember to stay curious, keep exploring, and never stop learning. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Cheers!